This video is brought to you by Aprondiva. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com. This has not been a usual day in my life. I had to take my husband for an eye procedure today, so we had to get up early so that I could get him out there. And then the instructions, once we were all done, was to take him home, feed him breakfast, and put him to bed. And I was just a little nervous because, of course, anxiety and apprehension regarding the procedure. But then once I dropped him off, I couldn't stay because they're not letting family stay in the waiting room, so I had to come home and then go back to pick him up. And the eye clinic is quite a distance from the house, so I was just a little anxious about having to drive so far. And then there's like a left turn across traffic that I always get just a little bit nervous about. So I've been just a little bit hyper today, just a little bit stressed. And one of the things that I've really been trying to do is engage in a little bit more of slow living. So when we got back, I fixed his breakfast, and then once I got him situated, well, then I had to clean the kitchen. And instead of putting the dishes in the dishwasher, I decided to wash them by hand because there is just something that is so therapeutic about standing at the sink, washing dishes, looking out the window, that kind of thing. It's kind of a blustery day, which is typical for this time of year, but there were no birds at the feeder for me to look at. But I did look out and watch the branches and all that kind of thing just kind of wave up and down, and it's pretty overcast. But there is still a certain amount of just kind of relaxation in just looking out the window at the grass and the trees. And actually there's research that supports just being able to see trees is good for a person's mental health. So I did that, and then after I was done with the dishes, and of course you've got the after meal cleanup you have to do. So I went ahead and got the stove cleaned up and all that kind of thing, got my pot scrubbed. But then I just wanted to sit down and relax with a cup of coffee. We had tea and toast this morning before we left to go to the clinic. Whereas I would normally have coffee, he would have tea. But he made tea for us both this morning, which was very nice. And so I enjoyed that. But I found that once I was all done, after I'd gotten him situated, got everything all cleaned up, and I was just ready to sit down and relax, I wanted that morning cup of coffee. So whereas it's not as early in the morning as I normally would be getting it, it was just so therapeutic to get that cup of coffee. The other thing that I needed to do today was write a letter. I've gotten some Happy Mail. I got a nice little thank you card from Debbie Jo for the work that I do on YouTube. And it was so pleasant just to get a letter from someone that I feel like is a friend who is happy for the things that I've been doing, but also just talking about things that are just okay in the world. So it was just nice to be able to get that letter. I mean, if you think about it, so much of the time, most of the mail we get is either some kind of circular flyers, things we don't want, or some kind of a bill. So it was really nice to get a personal letter. A text message and email is just not the same. So after I had read her letter when it came a couple of days ago, I thought, I'm going to just sit down and just slow it down and write a letter back to Debbie Jo as part of my relaxation today. Dear Debbie Jo, it was so nice to get your card. I must admit, it was a little worse for wear, and lovely blue ink was smeared. It looks like it got rained on. I've been trying to do a little bit more in taking care of me and just kind of slowing down and engaging in a little bit more of slow living. And I find that letter writing helps me to do that. And truth be told, letter writing is up. According to, I guess, the people that do stationery and, I don't know, whoever tracks these kind of statistics, since the pandemic with so many people being at home, people are writing letters so much more. So I guess I'm in trend. And then the other thing that I found interesting, I was talking to the lady at the Hallmark store when I was picking up some new stationery, and that's the stationery that I wrote Debbie Jo her letter on today, was some new stationery that I purchased. She said that stationery they are picking up sales on that, but what they're concerned about is whether or not people will continue to send cards. I think people will, because I enjoy getting a nice card in the mail, a nice little thank you note, but there's nothing like a nice chatty letter. We'll talk again soon. Sincerely, Denise. So now there's a few birds coming to the feeder, so I'm going to just sit here and enjoy this cup of coffee, and I will see you next time. And don't forget to visit us at www.aprondiva.com.